our Kaylee Hartzong, our colleague, is going to show you what Freddie the Falcon, the mascot, does, taking Inside the Game to new heights.
She's nuts. I'm just telling you. Welcome to the Today Show with your crazy talent. That's awesome.
How I get down.
So you will see that tomorrow, which means Kaylee got down safely, I assume.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Final score tonight from Atlanta is Kansas City 22 and Atlanta 17. Coming up next, except for those of you on the West Coast, it is your local news. Rob Hyland, Drew Essicoff, our Sunday night team in the truck taking care of us here tonight with Terry McCauley, Chris Collinsworth, and Melissa Stark, Mike Tirico. Good night from Atlanta, where the champs remain undefeated. KC 22, Atlanta 17.
NBC Sports thanks you for watching this presentation of the National Football League.
Last week,
Come here, Jimmy.
The Tonight Show was a celebration. This week, there's Keith Urban, Kate Blanchett, Shaquille O'Neal, and Monday, Michael Strahan and Sebastian Maniscalco. New Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon.
A suspected Venezuelan gang member who was arrested for domestic battery.
Violently attacked a woman physically and sexually.
The border crisis is real here in Wisconsin.
Criminal gangs harming our community.
We're stretched thin. Open borders and weak politicians are crushing us.
Rebecca Cook is one of them. She doesn't back law enforcement. She'll never secure the border. Doesn't even want to.
That's why we stand with Derek Van Orton. He has our back.
And I've got yours. I'm Derek Van Orton, and I approve this message.
Tammy Baldwin's partner is Maria Brisbane, a Wall Street wealth advisor to the ultra-rich. They spend their time in New York and D.C. in their multi-million-dollar homes. But Baldwin fails to report their jointly owned assets or Maria's clients, who get rich off industries that Tammy regulates. That's a conflict of interest raising serious ethical questions. Two-faced Tammy Baldwin. She's not for us anymore. Fix Washington PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
I'm Anna. I'm an OBGYN. I've made my career helping women and families have babies. Making the decision to have an abortion is painful. And for me, it was personal. When my pregnancy was in crisis and the child I wanted and loved had a devastating diagnosis, we chose to have an abortion. Politicians like Donald Trump have no right to make that medical decision for me and my family. Women are nearly dying because of these Trump abortion bans. As an OBGYN, I can't tell you how dangerous this is. And as a mother who's had a miscarriage, I can't think about living in a world like that. But in this election, there's a choice. Kamala Harris believes it's women and not politicians who should be making their own healthcare decisions. She's not going to stop until reproductive rights are restored. She just trusts women, and that's exactly what we need in a president.
AB PAC is responsible for the content of this ad.
I'm not old enough to vote yet, but I learned how 1 out of 6 of us will someday be raped. So please, think about me when you vote. I learned how our freedom to have an abortion was taken away, even in cases of rape or incest, even to travel to get an abortion. Please think about me.
You know who got rid of Roe v. Wade.
Now women are being refused life-saving care at hospitals, and politicians are trying to ban birth control. Please think about me. My parents call me their miracle daughter because I was born with IVF. But IVF could be banned too.
Do they think we're less than human?
Do they think we can't make decisions about our own bodies? About our own lives? When you vote, please think about me. And me.
And me.
Because the politician who got rid of Roe v. Wade, he couldn't care less.
My cancer drugs, $1,800 per month.
My hospital bill for a heart attack, $241,544.18.
I'm Rebecca Cook. My parents are like a lot of folks hit hard by sky-high medical bills, and with hospital closures, access to care is an even greater challenge. So what does Derek Van Orden say? Destroy Badger Care, gut Medicare, deny women reproductive care. I'll fight for affordable health care. Derek Van Orden won't, and that's why I approve this message.
Go get him, honey.
Legacy Concrete Coatings. Concrete coatings in one day.
Live from Rhinelander, this is Newswatch 12 Weekends, the Northwoods' best news. With Jake Force, meteorologist Conrad Sapinski, and Drew Chelly with sports. News from where you live starts now.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Jake Force. House Speaker Mike Johnson is trying once again to avoid a government shutdown. He unveiled a new short-term spending bill on Sunday. The new proposal would keep the government open through December 20th and provide $230 million for the U.S. Secret Service. Johnson called the continuing resolution bare bones and says it contains extensions, quote, that are absolutely necessary. Johnson tried to pass a plan last week that funded the government through February, but the bill failed after Democrats and a handful of Republicans rejected it. Johnson says he does not want a shutdown before the election, and the government technically runs out of money at the end of September. SpaceX Crew 9 team NASA astronaut Nick Hague and Russian cosmonaut Alexander Gubranov arrived at Kennedy Space Center yesterday, and the two are scheduled to take off early as this Thursday for the International Space Station aboard the Dragon capsule that will have 2 empty seats. They are meant for Boeing Starliner astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams, who hope to hitch a ride home in February when Crew 9's 5-month-long mission is finished. The Starliner launched to the International Space Station on its historic mission back in June, marking its first time carrying human crew members. But their Boeing spacecraft encountered problems, malfunctioning thrusters, and leaking helium on its journey into orbit. So their intended 8-day mission will now last more than 8 months. NASA ultimately opted to bring the Starliner spacecraft back to Earth without anyone on board. Crew 9's mission was initially scheduled for 4 members, but NASA astronauts Zena Cardman and Stephanie Wilson will stay home to make room for the stranded duo. Well, Chase, it's really starting to feel like fall out there.
Yeah, today was the first official day of fall. Definitely felt like it. Temperatures in the mid-60s, but for tonight, it's going to feel a little bit like winter out there with temperatures dropping to close to freezing for us. Not quite there, though. Right now, 43 degrees here in Rhinelander. We can see just now 40 degrees in Eagle River. Even some parts of the UP already in those upper 30s for tonight. A little bit down south is where it's a little bit warmer. Mosinee in those 50s still, right around 52. And a lot warmer in Wapaka, still close to 60, right around 58 degrees. The recipe for tonight, for those reasons why it's going to get so cold, is because look at this. Zeros on the board for wind speed, so very calm winds tonight, and that is the reason why we have a frost advisory in place for a lot of our northern counties. So hopefully you brought in those plants and covered your gardens for tonight. So we are definitely going to get some frost going into tomorrow morning. Taking a look ahead into tonight, we are going to be below average for tonight in temperatures at forecast low right around 35 degrees. Jake?
Thanks, Chase. Police say multiple shooters fired shots on a crowd in Birmingham, Alabama Saturday night, killing 4 people and injuring over a dozen more. Officials said a group of people had been out in the open on the sidewalk and street when the shooting began just after 11 p.m. in the 5 Points South area. At the scene, officers found 2 men and a woman unresponsive with gunshot wounds. And they died at the scene, and another person died at the hospital. Officials initially said at least 18 others suffered various gunshot injuries, including 4 people with life-threatening injuries. They later confirmed 17 people were injured and that the shooters exited a vehicle before firing on the victims. The United States Secretary of the Interior was in Rhinelander on Saturday to campaign in her personal capacity for the Harris-Walz campaign. I caught up with Hallen, who is a member of the Pueblo of Laguna tribe in New Mexico, to learn more about why she thinks the vice president's relationship with Native communities is a vital part of her campaign.
Wisconsin will really make a difference this election year.
Deb Holland was in Rhinelander on Saturday as part of a statewide tour to energize the Democratic voting base. Holland, who made history as the first Native American to serve as a cabinet secretary, spoke in her personal capacity about why she thinks the current administration's relationship with tribes will be a big boost for Vice President Harris in November.
The Biden-Harris administration has really worked to lift up Native communities across the country.
Holland said one issue on the minds of many Native Americans is the environment and clean energy solutions, an issue frequently talked about in the midterm years but forgotten during election season. Holland, however, believes that many still see the climate as a top priority.
I mean, look, you pick up the newspaper every day. and there are articles about climate. The Biden-Harris administration has really given a running start to a clean energy economy.
Holland said she believes a Harris presidency would also bring something that is a pillar of Native American culture, prioritizing the future.
I know that she cares deeply about the future that we're leaving to our children, understands the importance of ensuring that their government-to-government relationship between the United States and tribal governments is strong.
And students at Appalachia High School will return to school tomorrow. We'll get a look at how students are recovering from the shooting tragedy just a few weeks ago. That's After Weather with Chase when we come back.
National Democrats are spending millions on deceptive ads like these that lie and try to confuse you. Why? Because Democrats like Harris and Baldwin don't want you to focus on their radical record, allowing men to compete in girls' sports, funding a clinic that offers transgender therapy to minors without parents' consent, giving stimulus checks to illegals while Wisconsin families struggle. Baldwin and Democrats want you to focus on anything but their radical agenda.
I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message.
They say post it or it didn't happen. But out here, in the places we were made for, you'll have to take our word for it. Find somewhere the internet's never been. With a family of Broncos designed to get you there.
Lease a new Ford Bronco for $399 a month for 36 months, only at your local Wisconsin Ford dealer.
I want to turn to the issue of abortion.
Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans. One does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree. The government and Donald Trump certainly should not be telling a woman what to do with her body. I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
Give your home a fresh new look during the fall home sale at Slumberland Furniture and get a little help with incredible financing, plus up to 50% off list prices. Get a comfy place to relax for just $17 a month for 24 months with a total payment of just $3.99. A place to gather for movie night for one low monthly payment. Or upgrade your living room with this sleek modern sofa for a low monthly payment. Plus totally free doorstep shipping. The big fall home sale, one of our best finance deals, only at Slumberland Furniture.
Get an 11% rebate on everything now at Menards. Energizer batteries provide long-lasting, reliable power that you can depend on. Save big on our huge in-stock selection. Get an 11% rebate on all Energizer batteries. Protect your cargo with our great selection of hitches, ratchet straps, and bungees. Secure your passion with smart straps and save big money. This 10-piece value pack of tarp straps is $7.99 after 11% rebate.
Save big money at Menards.
Welcome back, everybody. It's safe to say it is fall now. Today was the first official day of fall, and it felt like it out there today with temperatures in the mid-60s for highs. Now we are in those low to mid-40s. Going to be cooling off quite a bit for tonight. Dew points in the low 40s as well. Very, very comfortable for us. And we can see we are now getting replaced with high pressure above that 30-inch mark. It's going to be like that for quite a while. So for today, mid-60s for highs, 66 here in Rylander. We see 64 in Eagle River and Minocqua. And we saw some slightly warmer temperatures as you go down south, right around 69 in Wausau, 68 in Mosinee. Did see a few areas hit 70 for today. Shawano, Green Bay, and Wapaka all right around 70 degrees for their high. Going into tonight, we're going to have near freezing temperatures in the mid-30s. Could see some areas getting right around freezing for tonight. So definitely going to be very cold. We do have a frost advisory in place for our northern counties. And we can see some areas right around the low 40s as well. Upper 30s down south of Marathon County. Wausau showing right around 41 degrees. And we see that stretching all the way down to Rome as well. So going to be a cold one out there tonight with mostly clear skies and calm winds. And for tomorrow, showing mid-60s again. Should be a little bit warmer in those upper 60s. We do have a lot of sun for tomorrow, so it should heat up a little bit more than the models are showing. And that's going to be for everyone else. Maybe a few clouds down in the south, but still temperatures could get up into those upper 60s, maybe right around 70 degrees for tomorrow. Taking a look at the temperature trend, so we have upper 60s for tomorrow, then getting back into those 70s, showing that on Tuesday, and then low to mid 70s throughout throughout the rest of the week, so we will be back above average going into the end of the week. Looks like by the weekend, right around mid-70s, so still going to be very comfortable for us, just having some nice warm temperatures back in the forecast. For right now, mostly clear skies across the state. Seeing a little bit of cloud cover down south, but not much to really affect any of us out there for tonight with tonight's lows. And we do have that frost advisory in place. We can see for northern counties, we got Ashland, Iron, Vilas, Price, Oneida. You know the story. All of our northern counties are seeing cool temperatures for tonight. That could have, little implications for your plants. So hopefully you brought those in for tonight. And then we also, should have been protecting your garden as well. Just all those little things that we need to know whenever we have a frost advisory in place. So for tonight, mostly clear skies. We got those frost advisories in our northern viewing area. Lows right around 35 degrees here in Rhinelander. Some areas could get right around freezing as well. And then we can see for tonight, calm winds, which is going to help bring those lows down to the low to mid 30s. For tomorrow, mostly sunny skies. We'll see lots of sun here in Rhinelander. So highs getting up into those upper 60s for tomorrow, right around 68 degrees. Winds for tomorrow, too, during the day are going to be pretty light and variable for us. So a very nice day coming up for tomorrow. Taking a look at your 7-day forecast brought to you by Northwoods Furniture and Mattress. We are going to warm up to above average again throughout the rest of the week, seeing mid to upper 70s Thursday into Friday. And this weekend looking nice with mid 70s and lots of sun. Jake?
Thanks, Chase. The group Hezbollah says it is now in an open-ended battle with Israel. This dash cam video captured the moment a Hezbollah rocket hit in northern Israel earlier today. Israeli officials say 3 people were injured in the blast, 2 elderly men and a teenage girl. Hezbollah says it has fired more than 100 rockets across northern Israel. Air raid sirens sounded throughout the region, sending hundreds of thousands of Israelis running into shelters. Hezbollah says the rocket barrage is in retaliation for Israeli attacks in Lebanon that have killed dozens, including a veteran Hezbollah commander. White House National Security spokesman John Kirby says the U.S. is using diplomacy to try and prevent an all-out war. A methane leak sparked an explosion at a coal mine in eastern Iran today, killing at least 51 people and injuring 20 others. Officials said the deaths happened at a coal mine in Tabas, some 335 miles southeast of the capital, Tehran. Authorities were sending emergency personnel to the area after the blast, and around 70 people had been working there at the time of the blast. Iran's state TV said at least 24 miners were believed to be trapped inside. Iran's new reformist president, Masoud Pezeshkian, preparing to travel to New York for the United Nations General Assembly, said he ordered all efforts be made to rescue those trapped and aid their families. He also said an investigation into the incident had begun. Oil-producing Iran is also rich in a variety of minerals. Iran annually consumes some 3.5 million tons of coal, but only extracts about 1.8 million tons from its mines per year. The rest is imported, often consumed in the country's steel mills. Tomorrow, students in Georgia will begin the process of returning to Appalachia High, where 2 14-year-old boys and 2 teachers were killed on September 4th. The campus will open back up in phases, an open house tomorrow, and classes resume Tuesday. And as Tina Kim reports, while Appalachia's kids try to get back to normal routines, the nation is seeing a rise in school shooting threats.
Almost 3 weeks after the deadliest school shooting so far this year, the students of Appalachia High in Winder, Georgia, will return to the campus where 2 teachers and 2 students were gunned down. Their first names and photos fill the front page of the school's website, which also details how the kids will come back. An open house Monday. Classes resume on a half-day schedule Tuesday. Full classes set to start in mid-October. Counselors, therapy dogs, and more officers will be in place, while Jay Hall, where the killings took place, will be shut down for the rest of the school year. Student Armando Martinez said he's already been back for school practices.
It was hard even being there myself, given the fact that I was in that room where I was practicing, where I was in that room whenever it happened, and just to be in there in that moment, it was scary, but to know that we have a strong community.
That strong community seen on full display online. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson posted video of members of Appalachia's football team visiting the Atlanta set where he is currently working. But as Appalachia tries to move forward, the number of threats of school shootings have been on the rise across the nation. Reportedly, more than 24 children have been arrested for alleged threats. That includes in Florida. An 11-year-old now faces a felony for allegedly saying he would commit a mass shooting. The local sheriff issued this warning for future offenders.
Your little cherub, we're going to start publishing his face and doing perp walks with him when we take him into custody. And then we're going to show pictures of you, the parents.
I'm Tina Kim reporting.
And Volusia County Sheriff Michael Chitwood arrested another teenager today for an alleged school threat, but he says in this case he will not reveal the suspect's identity because the sheriff says he has autism. And a special walk for breast cancer took place in Milwaukee today. In 2 minutes, we'll look at how these brave walkers bared the elements for a good cause.
Today, it seems everyone can be their own service technician thanks to the internet. From servicing their own cars and engines to home remodels and projects, people are trying a little of everything. Here at Maher Water Corporation, we employ nationally certified and factory-trained technicians to keep your water treatment systems working to their full lives. We will treat you like our own family.
So if you want us to service your equipment, give us a call. But if you're the fix-it-yourself kind of person, we'll enjoy your funny video clips.
Their Bidenomics led to the highest inflation in 40 years, highest gas prices ever, skyrocketing interest rates, unaffordable housing, incomes down, unemployment rising, and a recession now headed our way. Yet Kamala Harris is clueless.
We are very proud of Bidenomics. Bidenomics is working.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
With Chevy trucks, be ready for adventure. With power you can count on. Capability that doesn't compromise. A hard-working EV with more range than any competitor and the potential to take you anywhere.
Get 0% financing plus make no monthly payments for 90 days on all 2024 Silverado 1500 pickups. Or get $5,750 total value on this Silverado. Visit WisconsinChevyDealers.com.
After I decided my pain was too much, and my doctor actually suggested that I do visit the Good Feet store. Pretty amazing when they put the arch supports in your shoe and you walk around and you realize there's not pain and you think, how can this arch support in my shoe make my back pain go away? But it works. And how can it make my knee pain go away? It was incredible.
Hip, knee, or back pain? See if arch supports can help you at the Good Feet store.
And welcome back. A JetBlue flight from New York to San Diego was forced to land in Kansas City Saturday night due to smoke in the cockpit, according to the local airport authority. Seth Odell, a passenger on the flight, said, quote, "The pilot came on and let us know that he was seeing an alert for smoke in the cargo bay," unquote. Fire crews from the Salina, Kansas Fire Department were dispatched to the airfield and were in place when the Airbus landed. All 130 passengers and crew on the flight were able to deplane safely. The More Than Pink Walk was held in Milwaukee this afternoon, and while the weather didn't exactly cooperate, the attendees were still able to make the most out of the day. Here's TMJ4's Talil Maldin.
Rained out before they could even get going.
Unfortunately, we had to cancel.
The more than 5,000 people expected to take part in Milwaukee's Susan G. Komen More Than Pink Walk.
We are so disappointed.
Dwindled to a few dozen.
There was 100 volunteers that put in work for months and months to make this day really special. And unfortunately, it really wasn't the rain, it was the thunder.
But their hard work didn't go completely unnoticed.
I said rain, and we were all coming down here anyways because we love each other and we love Nikki, and this is a really good cause.
Those that stuck around, making the most of the gloomy situation and focusing on the fight against breast cancer.
Is everything to me. I lost my mom and my aunt. They died within a month of each other, and I was diagnosed 14 years ago, and it came back last year.
The goal here is still raising money to help find a cure, making existing treatments more accessible, and continue community programming on breast health. And though safety concerns made the walk a no-go, many dressed in pink today took comfort, being surrounded by those with a shared experience.
It was just like a whole family of people that knew what I was going through, so it didn't matter If I was crying, if I couldn't move, if I had a bad day, I could call anybody or text anybody.
And while there's no official finish line here,
come to me!
Survivors and thrivers are still getting their roses and walking away on a high note.
Where are Nikki's Angels?
In Milwaukee, Tahlil Muhaddin, TMJ4 News.
And Malik Willis made his return to Nashville today to take on the team that drafted him, the Tennessee Titans. Coming up on Newswatch 12, Drew Chelly will join us with the highlights of today's game.
This is Ford Truck Month with big offers on the trucks that don't subscribe to the word impossible. Like the off-road ready Ranger, the adaptable Maverick, plus F-Series, America's best-selling trucks featuring the 2024 Ford F-150 and Super Duty, the North American Truck of the Year, all with offers that make owning one possible. This is Ford Truck Month. Lease a new Ford F-150 STX for $329 a month for 36 months, only at your local Wisconsin Ford dealer.
We know Wisconsin workers can get the job done.
But China has been taking our jobs.
For years, our government built America's infrastructure with Chinese iron and steel. I said that's got to change.
Tammy Baldwin wrote the law to make sure American projects are made with American iron and steel. Now we're getting more work in Wisconsin with Wisconsin workers.
Tammy Baldwin stood up to China and our government.
She got the job done.
I'm Tammy Baldwin. I approve this message.
From the moment we get up until the time our day draws to a close, technology is at work in our world. Each of us has just one life, and we want yours to be extraordinary. That's why Cellcom built a network to support big moments and small victories, so you can enjoy every glorious sunrise and sunset along the way. It's technology with a heartbeat.
Tammy Baldwin's partner is Maria Brisbane, a Wall Street wealth advisor to the ultra-rich. They spend their time in New York and D.C. in their multi-million-dollar homes. But Baldwin fails to report their jointly owned assets or Maria's clients, who get rich off industries that Tammy regulates. That's a conflict of interest raising serious ethical questions. Two-faced Tammy Baldwin. She's not for us anymore. Fix Washington PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Haugum Law Firm specializes in estate planning and elder law. You know why to protect your hard-earned assets, and they know how.
Haugum, Alan Haugum. Nice to meet you. How do you, Haugum?
Haugum Law Firm. I'd be more than happy to set you up with your complimentary consultation. How do you, Haugum?
Haugum Law Firm can assist you with your asset protection, estate planning needs, probate, trust administration, and nursing home Medicaid. Haugum Law Firm knows it's important to educate the community. Call us today to learn more. How do you, Haugum?
The Green Bay Packers are in action in Week 3 of the NFL season as they headed down to Nashville for a matchup with the Tennessee Titans. Jordan Love was out once again with that MCL sprain he suffered in Week 1, meaning that former Tennessee Titan and Packers' current backup but now starting quarterback Malik Willis would have a shot at redemption against his old team. So could Willis get his second win as starter, or the Titans grab their first win of the season? In the first quarter, Packers have it 2nd and goal from the Tennessee 6, and Willis is going to keep it on the read option, powers his way into the end zone for the touchdown, and the Packers are on the board first, still in the first. Packers up 10-7. Jair Alexander going to pick off Will Levis. He's taking this one back to the house, pick 6, and the Packers rolling early. It's 17-7. Now to the third quarter. Packers up 20-7, looking to put this game away. Willis drops back. He's going to go to Emmanuel Wilson on the screen pass. Great blocking downfield. Wilson going to make a couple cuts, finds his way into the end zone for the touchdown. Willis, a big day, gets his revenge on his old team. Packers win 30-14. Here's what he had to say post-game about getting the win over his old squad.
More than anything, I think it's just a different opportunity. I only got 3 starts here as a rookie. And like I said before, I just wasn't ready at that point in time. And I've had a lot of time to just, work hard and just grind every day in order to make use of my next opportunity.
Packer head coach Matt LaFleur spoke about the impressive rise of Willis over the past couple of weeks.
What he's been able to do is I've never seen something like this. So hats off to him. Hats off to everybody around him. Guys rallying, having his back.
The Packers will look to keep this momentum going next Sunday as they get ready to take on the Minnesota Vikings at Lambeau Field. Now let's take a look at the NFC North standings after Week 3. Minnesota, the surprise of the NFL so far. They're 3-0, and that 3-0 record will be put to the test next weekend when they make the trip to Lambeau to take on the Packers and potentially Jordan Love, who may return from that knee injury. The Packers and Lions in second place, they're both at 2-1, and the Chicago Bears, after falling today, have a 1-2 record. It's been a tough go of things for the Milwaukee Brewers since they clinched the National League Central title on Wednesday. It's been a tougher weekend at home against the Arizona Diamondbacks as the D-backs have taken the first 3 games of the series. The Brewers are hoping to get a win at home to avoid the sweep. It wasn't looking good early. Eugenio Suarez going to connect on this one to deep left field. That one is gone, and that would make it 8-0 Diamondbacks. Let's move to the 7th. Hey, it's 8-5 now. It's 8-6. Willie Adames going to split the gap in right center field. That's an RBI double, and it's an 8-6 ball game. Now in the 8th, 9-7, Rhys Hoskins with a tying run on second. He loops one into right center field for a base hit. That brings in 2 from 8-0 down. We're tied at 9. Couple batters later, Jake Bauers to shortstop. There's no play. From 8-0 down, the Brewers rally. They win it 10-9. Here's what Pat Murphy had to say about the comeback.
I think it's the 4th time in franchise history, the first time in 21 seasons, that we came back from an 8-0 deficit or more. And so it's a tribute to these guys that maybe they want to be the last man standing.
It was a comeback for the ages for the Brewers, who rallied from 8 runs down to defeat the Diamondbacks. A potential playoff opponent, potentially, for the Brewers. There's just 1 week left in the regular season for the MLB playoffs get going on October 1st. We'll be right back after the break.
My cancer drugs, $1,800 per month.
My hospital bill for a heart attack, $241,544.18.
I'm Rebecca Cook. My parents are like a lot of folks hit hard by sky-high medical bills. And with hospital closures, access to care is an even greater challenge. So what does Derek Van Orden say? Destroy Badger Care, gut Medicare, deny women reproductive care. I'll fight for affordable health care. Derek Van Orden won't. And that's why I approve this message.
Go get him, honey.
It can be back-breaking work all day, every day, pretty much on your feet. So it burns me up when Eric Hovey says people in Wisconsin don't work hard. The guy is a multi-millionaire California banker. He has absolutely no idea what we're going through. He's living the high life out there in a big fancy house. He even brags about being in the 1%. Listen, don't come here and tell us we're not working hard when we are just getting by. Eric Hovey doesn't respect us at all. The guy's a straight-up jerk. DSTC is responsible for the content of this ad.
Your home is more than just a roof, walls, and windows. It's an investment, a place where memories are made with friends and family. Overhead Solutions wants to earn your business and help you with all of your roofing needs. Call us for a free estimate today.
Moondeer and Friends Gallery in downtown Boulder Junction offers an eclectic mix of contemporary fine art and craft, antiques, professional custom frame service, and many other smaller gift items, featuring the work of gallery owner Sarah Mender, as well as over 150 other regional artists.
While families struggle to pay bills, Harris and the Democrats are wasting our tax dollars on their extreme liberal agenda, giving government checks to illegal immigrants, funding a Madison clinic where minors get transgender therapy without parents' consent, pushing high schools to allow boys to compete in girls' sports. Senator Baldwin fights for this madness. Tammy Baldwin, radical, extreme, and wrong.
I'm Eric Hovey, and I approve this message.
Join us live Friday the 27th.
as we take our show live to Schofield Stadium.
For the Rhinelander and the Go Bell game.
Well, Chase, what are we looking at outside out there?
It is getting pretty chilly out there, Jake. Temperatures right now in the low 40s, and they're going to keep dropping. We're going to see temperatures near freezing for tonight, probably a little bit warmer than that. So let's take a look out at those temperatures right now. We can see already in Eagle River, they're at 39 degrees, and here in Rhinelander, right at 41. Going to drop into those mid-30s for tonight, so we do have a frost advisory in place for a lot of our northern counties. So hopefully you brought in those plants today and protected your garden if you have one, because the frost can kill off those plants and stuff like that. So that's just something to always keep in mind. And so we can see here's our northern counties that have the frost advisory in place. That is in effect until 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. That is when we should start to see temperatures rising back up into those upper 60s for tomorrow for highs. We'll have lots of sun for tomorrow, but still dealing with that front that passed through last night. So we're still going to feel the cooler effects, but we should be warming up throughout the rest of the week. And we can see in our southern viewing area, maybe a little bit warmer, temperatures close to 70 degrees, especially by Adams County. And taking a look, if you want to see what the radar looks like for the next few days, we are going to stay dry. Going into Monday night, we'll have a little bit of action in our neighboring states in Illinois, but that'll just be bringing some cloud cover across the state for us. So those lows will be a little bit warmer for tomorrow night than they are for tonight. And then continuing on, looks like there's a front to our west, but other than that, those showers are going to dissipate before they get to us, and we're going to stay dry going into the rest of the week. So taking a look at that 7-day forecast, we can see Tuesday we're back in the low 70s, and we can see lots of sun throughout the rest of the week as we continue to warm up a little bit near those mid to upper 70s, especially on Friday with the high of 77. And then we can see by this weekend, mid 70s with mostly sunny skies. Should be a very nice week for us.
I'll tell you, I think Mother Nature is playing tricks on us, because it feels like summer's over and fall's about to start, and then it feels like summer is coming back, and now
well, hopefully we're going to continue to see when we have these high pressure systems come in, we're going to continue to see those highs getting lower and lower. So we were in the 80s, now we're going to be in the 70s for a little bit. Soon enough it could be the 60s, 50s, and so on as we get farther off into the season.
It's definitely starting to get cold. You can tell when we just had Sunday night football here, when the Kansas City Chiefs just start winning games that they maybe shouldn't have won. And
yeah, you're right.
You played football back in the day. It just reminds me of my New England Patriots. We just used to win games.
The one call that I thought was very questionable was the one when they had 6 minutes left. Atlanta, Kirk Cousins threw into the end zone, and it definitely looked like a penalty should have been thrown.
Yeah, the Chiefs they got a penalty called on them, but I definitely agree that those Chiefs get a lot of favors. But that'll do it for us tonight. That's Newswatch 12 for this Sunday night. Make sure to be up bright and early for Newswatch 12 today at 5 in the morning. I'm Jake Forrest from all of us here at Newswatch 12. Have a great night.
We all know costs are too high, but while corporations are gouging families, Trump is focused on giving them tax cuts. But Kamala Harris is focused on you.
Building up the middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency.
She'll make groceries more affordable by cracking down on price gouging. And she'll cut housing costs by taking on corporate speculators. Middle-class families build America. We need a leader who has their back.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
ELM Repair in Edgar is a family-owned and operated full-service diesel repair shop. From pickups to semi-trucks to heavy equipment and RV service. If it runs on diesel, we can repair it. Want more power and better mileage? Our experienced professionals will get your truck running and at peak performance. With a state-of-the-art dyno and fully stocked parts department, we can even come out to you with our 24-hour mobile repair service. ELM is always looking for passionate and talented people to join our team. The Diesel Doctor have it done right the first time at ELM Repair.
Get an 11% rebate at Menards. Mastercraft makes great doors inside and out. Choose from our in-stock selection or design your door your way in store and on Menards.com. Get this 3-panel interior door for $119.99 after rebate. Shop our huge selection of window images window treatments. 2-inch cordless faux wood blinds are room darkening for light control and privacy. Plus,